Welcome to the Own It Show. I'm Heather Lee Chapman, your holistic performance and business coach. And I'm so excited to be here with you all today. It's time to stop sacrificing your health and freedom and start scaling your results in your business and all areas of your life. Here at Own It Empire, we help entrepreneurs become high performers and increase their awareness so they can increase their impact and create profitable business online so that you can truly own it. Welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm so grateful to be here with Miss Julz Vitality. And she is passionate about connecting visionary leaders with the audience they deserve. And she's the founder and host of the Positive Impact Media. Thanks so much for being here today, Julz.
Thank you so much for having me, Heather. I know we go years back, and I love speaking to your audience and having you on my show. And I think between you and I, we always kind of our conversation naturally goes to where the need is. So let's see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we're talking all about how to become a community management expert and tribe leader. And I love that you saw this gap in the market, that there's more leadership required, and all those conscious entrepreneurs who've been out there as solopreneurs. It's time for us to level up, step into our leaderships, and build out those communities that are going to change the world. And I love that you are owning this area with your expertise as the leader that you are. So please tell us more about you and your entrepreneur journey.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It made me reflect a little bit on the leadership aspect of my journey. And funnily enough, I was always a shy kid. And in school, even though I was a part of the four popular girls, the how it is in the movies, I was always the shyest one, and I was always walking behind the first two, and I was like, "I don't even know why I'm in this group, but, I really don't feel like I belong here." And I would always shy away from spotlight. I hated when people asked me something on the spot without having time to prepare. The idea of speaking up or speaking your mind was scary. And, somehow teachers and organizers of things always would pull me out of the crowd and say, "No, you be in charge, or you lead this event, or you be the class leader." And I'm like, "What? How? Why me? Like, I'm scared of that." But I don't know, maybe they saw something in me that I didn't see now that I'm a mother, and, I can see something in my children that maybe they don't see in themselves, or maybe they don't have the confidence to admit it. And then I remember, as I went through my school years, then I was already in the workforce, and I took this project management class at night. I just wanted to learn more about it. So I went to it, and the teacher broke us into little groups, and he says, each group, pick your own leader. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to look down, and I'm not going to say a word. And somehow all of the people in my group just pointed at me and say, "You." Like, I can't run away from this. I can't run away from it. And I guess from that point, I was like, I'm just going to step into it. I'm just going to own it. I'm going to own the fact that I am a natural born leader. And another crucial moment was after my second divorce, at that time, separation. I was reading a personal development book, calling in the one, which is basically every chapter is like a session of therapy. And there was one chapter about something that you're sort of suppressing, something that you're not comfortable admitting about yourself. And again, the subject of leadership came up. And I was like, why do I feel bad about it? Why do I feel like being a woman leader is unacceptable, maybe intimidating to some people? And more importantly, why do I keep hiding behind something? And this is who I truly am. Can I step into it? Can I own it? And can I use it to the advantage of myself, my family, my children, my friends, and people who I'm coaching? Like, enough is enough. I got to step into it. I got to own it. And I think a lot of our listeners are probably somewhere there in that journey, because even though as we gain confidence about our message, about ourselves, about serving other people as they share their testimonials with us of the transformation that they've experienced with our services, we go, okay, I want to impact more people. I want this to be the result in more people, in a greater percentage of the population, in larger audiences. So I encourage all of you to evaluate your, where are you on a scale of leadership? Are you a follower or are you a leader and you're just maybe not stepping into that yet? Right. And why not? Because that is a great point of self reflection. And if you don't know where to go with that, I'm sure Heather can help you with all her wonderful NLP and whatnot. But the point is, when we are in a certain point of our business, we've made, impact in our individual clients. It comes to the point where we want to get our message in front of crowds, right? And we want to build communities. We want to bring like-minded people together and we want to impact our tribe, grow our tribe, whether they're sort of following in our hero's journey or we have they have something in common and we're helping them overcome some common challenges either by our example, by being a servant leader, right? We're not talking about being a boss here. We're talking about being a minister. Those of you who are Bible readers would know that Jesus was a leader, but he wasn't the leader that was commanding respect. People wanted to follow him. So we're talking about that kind of leadership where people select a leader from within and they want that leader to inspire them and motivate them, and it does come with responsibilities. So we're probably going to talk about some aspects of that today.
I love that. And now you are a born leader and now you are leading and you're such a presence online. I love seeing your content everywhere. So thank you for stepping out of the shadows and into the light and letting your light shine to help create the safe space for others to also do the same. And I really like that you touched a bit on the point about women in leadership, because there's a tendency that it's bossy. I like this saying, like, I used to be told I was bossy all the time, but I just know I'm a born leader. But my parents conditioned me to be that way. And so somebody said to me, they'd say that, oh, you used to be so bossy. And I laughed and said, haha, they call that leadership now. Right? Like if that had come from a boy, they would have been like, oh yeah, great leadership, right? But as a girl, oh, you're bossy. And now I am a leader in many communities and many aspects and owning that. So I think there is a little bit of a wall there for women afraid to step into it. And so I want to encourage you that it's not the toxic masculine way. And I'm not talking about masculine. I love men. I love a good, healthy man. But I mean the toxic masculine, like you said, like the boss, like commanding it. Instead, it's that feminine divine flow that kind of just steps into that servant leadership that people will happily follow. Um, in the self confidence formula, he says that people will believe in me because I believe in them. Right. And so it's that kind of leadership. So I love, love, love that you brought that up. And the servant leader and Jesus had followers, right? Because of his leadership, but it wasn't a commanding. It was like how we're going to talk in a little bit about his vision, inspiring them to step into their own hero's journey and become leaders on their own as well. So I love, love, love that. And I love the journey and I love where you're at. So let's dive into your zone of genius and talk about your tips today.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So, as the world migrated to online, a lot of aspects, right? There is still a real life component, but if you look at even your habits, we order stuff on Amazon, we order stuff online, we spend more time on Zoom calls, even if you have a traditional job. If you are a business owner, you are using digital marketing, you are using social media, even for an in person business. So I think for me, it was also a little bit of a barrier to embrace being visible online because at first I thought it was a little bit of breach of privacy. I'm like, I
Mm.
want to be, I'm the real me, but I don't want it to be on the screen. On the screen, I want to have a certain persona. But that led to a certain amount of the same cognitive dissonance as I had working in a corporate environment because I'm like, no, I want to have my own voice. I want to, be the way I am. I want people to know me for who I am. And when I started embracing that and also sharing everything that I'm learning, because you and I were constantly learning and improving our knowledge as we were just reflecting 2 years ago when we first met, maybe probably longer than that, we were in a different place, right? And now maybe what we were serving our crowds or our tribes with isn't, maybe it's still relevant, but it doesn't satisfy us as much because we want to share the newest, latest, greatest with people. So I think one of my zones of genius is understanding what are the trends. And I'm not talking about what hashtags are trending or is it the dance or whatever it is on TikTok. I'm talking about running an online coaching expert mentorship business, being of service with your content. So we're talking about that sort of exposure and visibility. So what is organically doable for people who are entering this online world and want to be impacting people with who they really are? So yes, there are course creators that are hiding behind their digital products and you never see their face. There are faceless YouTube channels and there are faceless, Instagram accounts with millions of followers. And people do reshare that content and it is beneficial, but we're talking here about being your brand. So I think when it comes to, with the combination of being authentic, being an online brand, being a service provider, being into personal development, as you and I talked about this also earlier, is that is a foundation of any entrepreneur who is running their business to positively impact other people, right? Again, there are businesses that exist to make money. Our businesses exist to create transformation, right? And we are talking here to people who resonate with that, with being the best you can so that you can help others be the best they can, right? So embracing being visible, embracing being authentic, embracing building a brand where you are the face of your brand. I think those are my strength in the online space.
I love that. And not only how to become a community influencer, but why? Because without doing that, you can't make that impact. You can't leave that legacy. And I love how you talked about that fear in the beginning of like all of a sudden I got to put myself online and I got to be the face of the brand and I have to let myself out there. I built my business for the first decade on referrals and it was in person. And I remember I was thinking about it last night actually when I started to build my brand online because I knew I wanted to go into the online space and I had 253 Instagram followers and was starting to create content and build my brand. And my brother went to me, "What are you trying to be Insta famous?" And I was like, "Listen, Mike, this is not like that." But yeah, because guess what? This is how I'm going to be an influencer in the right kind, that servant leader. I'm going to build my brand. It's not going to happen by putting an ad in the newspaper. And I am part of the service. So I really want to be the face of that brand. And so that was one, not only the fear of doing it, but then also the judgment from others that came with
Absolutely.
it. And I remember being like, "Oh, you're right. I guess you don't advertise in a newspaper so much." And I was like, "Yeah, so this is like my business advertising channel." And I just happen to be the service. Right? And so there's that imposter syndrome to get over a little bit there. And if we don't get out of our own way, we can't serve others. So what I always like to remind people when they're like, "I don't want to do it," I'd say, "Yes. And you told me you wanted to do this, and have this impact and help these people. And so I don't want to do it as about you. And your mission is about others." And so it's getting back into that energy of service and back out of the energy of the what ifs and the fear, the worry and doubt. What will people think and making it about us? Because if we're stuck there, we can't be that influencer and leave that impact. And that's why it's so important to get over that imposter syndrome, which is always going to be there a little bit because as you evolve, there's a new level and then you got to do it again. And it's so important if you really want to leave that legacy.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that imposter syndrome because I'm in Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi's master class or mastermind, whatever they call it, membership. And Dean goes live once a month or once a week. I caught one of his calls and he said he still has it and Tony still has it. As they go through their personal development and even Buddha, right? The more you know, the less you know, the more humble you become, the more you realize how much there is still to know. So I think just embracing that imposter syndrome, that it is a fact of life, and not letting it stop you from doing what you are driven to do or are motivated to do, and also helping others overcome theirs, right? Because understanding that we all have it and that we all need somebody to help us overcome it. And this is another role of communities, right? Because in the community we find like-minded individuals that share not only the same vision, the same aspirations, but also the same fears and the same pains and the same struggles, right? So that's what brings the community together. And it is a community economy. And if you really think about every one of you listeners, if you really think about who do you follow and how many communities are you really in? We're in in a lot of communities, right? So for example, and it doesn't have to be big. Like I am in Tony Robbins' community, but I feel like a needle in a haystack there, right? But when I'm in a smaller community where I meet the same people on one call after the next, when I get to know them, when they are sort of in a similar level, right? You feel it's relatable. You can help one another, you can push one another up versus just having this almost invisible, untouchable leader, right?
Mm, mhm.
So even though we are in some communities that are way over our head, right? Sometimes we need communities that are small and intimate so that we can feel comfortable. So we're like this little, like the mother with little geese following her, right? So we all feel protected under the mother's wings because the mother is so, approachable, available. She's there to shelter us. So in a way, sometimes when I lead my, smaller coaching groups, I feel like these are my folks. I'm taking care of them, right? And then the ones that I go to and I sign up and I become a member in somebody's community, the same thing. Like I don't sign up for a community where I can't really reach the leader, right? So I think it's one of the things that's important to understand, first of all, that there are multiple communities we're a part of. Even if somebody's already a part of some community, it doesn't mean that they can come into yours. Your community serves a different purpose, right? It is a community economy. We are literally tribe-driven individuals, whether that's something that came into our, genetic code from way back in the day, but we work better as a community. We work better when we're surrounded with like-minded individuals. We can choose a community. We outgrow some communities, right? We outgrow our high school alumni, right? We maybe don't go to the reunions anymore because we realize maybe those people are stagnant and they stay where they are, right? So we find another community that inspires us, that motivates us to step into the new zone of genius or is aligned with our vision, right? So it's absolutely cool to think of who who do I want to gather around me? First, which communities do I want to be a part of? And then if I were to lead a community, what can I pass on to them? What have I already overcome? Or what do I know that can benefit these folks? And why? What would be the common element among them? Whether it's, let's say, if you're in a wellness space, what are some of the wellness challenges that they're experiencing? A common element, right? And then you kind of your vision will help you to pull that community through, to grow. Some people will fall off, new people will come in, and that is completely fine, right? So my encouragement to all of you is to tap into this trend, which is the community economy, and start creating these communities everywhere, right? If you are on Facebook, which is I personally believe, and it's one of the gifts we're dropping today, is a great way to build a community in Facebook. And there are so many other communities to join and to learn from those. It's really an exciting time, I think.
It is, and I am loving networking, and one of my biggest things right now is I just went through a big evolution over the last year, and so I'm actually in search of newer communities to be a part of, new friends, new ecosystems that are in alignment with the new version of me and the new vision that I'm following. And I love how you said about the imposter syndrome that it doesn't go away, because when I was at Bob Proctor's masterclass, that was my first question. I was like, how do you make this easier next time? And he just laughed, and he's like I was like, "Is there some kind of magic trick and affirmation? Like, what do you do for this transformation process?" And he just laughed. He's like, "It's the same every time." And so I said, "So you just get comfortable being uncomfortable?" And he said, "Yeah." Right? So it's that constant evolutionary journey, and you just have to be a few steps ahead of other people. Like you said, what have you overcome already that you can guide people with? And it is a community economy when we think about all the communities we are part of. And then I want to ask yourself, like, are they adding value? And are they in alignment with your highest self and casting that vision that you want for your future? Are they in alignment with that? And if not, it's time to go community shopping and start hanging out in other places where people are going to lock arms and pull you up, because you're absolutely right. It's not just about rah rah cheering each other on. It's also about sharing the same fears, the struggles, and knowing that you're not alone, and that everyone goes through very similar things. It can be so priceless on that leadership journey. As Kelly Roach would say, my business coach had mentioned that it's pretty lonely there at the top. It's really busy down here, but when you level up your leadership and your offers, your services, and you take it to the next level, it's pretty lonely up there, and the competition is scarce because there is a big gap calling for that level of leadership right now in the world, in the community, where we put community, people, and planet first over profit. And we love profit, we love earning money. And that's a byproduct of the transformations we get to help people have. And so there is a big gap for that right now. So I love that you're creating this space for people to find the leader in them and level up and create that space, and know how to tap into the magic of a good community. I would just have to say, I was just on the forum. I was a moderator this week, which was so much fun. And it's a great Canadian um, community they've got mentorship and so many things. And every Wednesday is a networking community. And today we actually masterminded at the end of the networking. And our whole group was talking about the loneliness of entrepreneurship, and not only being lonely, say, like being a solopreneur, or even if you have a team, they're digital, like they're on the other side of the world or country. Also just being able to have those level of conversations. They say only about 10 to 12% of the population is willing to be an entrepreneur. And then how many of those are conscious entrepreneurs? And so again, that leadership is lonely at the top. So locking arms with community, it is essential for success and mental health and enjoying the journey, I truly believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a time when we first step into entrepreneurship and we're gonna, "Oh, I can do this all myself. I'm gonna learn this and I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna wear all these hats and I'm gonna be, a master at, of all trades." And then you realize a lot of entrepreneurs go through some sort of burnout. They realize, okay, no, this is my expertise. Why am I learning accounting, janitorial, babysitting, all of the other stuff that is irrelevant really to my business? And then, as you said, we might be growing a team. We might be getting some help, maybe some virtual assistants. And we're moving up and we're starting to serve more people. We're starting to maybe show up on podcasts, on stages, right? And then I catch these people sometime at this stage, and I go, okay, well, are you inviting your audiences, the people that are listening to your message, to gather somewhere? Because if they're all fans of what you have to say, where can they find you? Where do you hang out? How do you bring them together and bring them closer to you, around you? And a lot of them go, what are you talking about? I don't have anything. And this is where I go, well, you got to start a community. And every time you show up on a podcast, on a stage, anywhere else, you invite these people to find you there and find one another there, right? And then you can nurture them. You can give them more content, more value. You can invite them to work with you. You can invite them to connect with one another, because being a community builder is not just, having people buy from you, right? It's also helping them create that culture, right, of service, mutual support, partnerships, referrals, finding opportunities for them. I remember one of the summits I did, I had my speakers pair up every week. I would pair them up on a spreadsheet and I say, you two go live on each other's platforms, on each other's Facebook page or whatever. They loved it. First of all, they had to get to know one another. It was a little bit uncomfortable. They're like, I don't know this person. Why would I get on a call with them? Well, we're speaking at the same summit. We're addressing the same issue. Your audiences have an intersect. And even if they don't, it may be the same group of people that first get divorced Okay. And you help them with divorce. And then maybe they're getting into dating. So like the same two coaches make sense for them to pair up. So when I started doing that and pairing people up and started developing relationships within the communities, later on when I still see them collaborating, that brings me so much joy because it's not always about the leader is such a selfless role. It's not about benefiting from the community and, you know, capitalizing on the numbers or anything like that. It's literally about creating a culture, right?
Mm.
So having a vision, right? Being purpose driven, soul driven, heart centered, and a little bit of a parent. I think all community leaders are a little bit of a parent or a big sister, right? Having that caring feeling of your tribe, I think that is so rewarding to me. To me personally, it's very, very rewarding because when I see my tribe succeed, I feel fulfilled.
Mm. Absolutely. I just got to put together a testimonial graphics the other week, and I was tearing, and it was a reminder of why we want to be that influencer and get out there because that more of that happen. And later in the beginning, it is a lot about our own wins, and then it becomes really about the community win and seeing them step into their highest self and living their purpose on purpose is incredible. And so I love that you're talking about having that vision that's contagious and turning it into a legacy. So become a visionary and go from a soulpreneur to a visionary leader, where that vision is so contagious that it creates a culture where people they buy into the vision, not just a vision for you, but the vision for the community and for humanity. And actually, we were just talking about books we are listening to before we started, and I'm studying Values and the Evolution of Consciousness by Adriana James. And the highest level of consciousness and evolution is humanity consciousness, when it is about humanity, not about I. And that is a true contagious vision to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all move through time with lessons learned, and sometimes changes in our life can throw us back into our shell. But I want everybody to think about how did you overcome all of the challenges up till today? And can you maybe make a list of maybe create a toolkit that you use or you've come up with, and that alone can be so valuable to your community. You don't have to be too personal to be authentic. You can bring value to your audience, to your tribe by sharing how you've overcome certain challenges. You don't have to dwell on the challenges themselves too much, but that brings people together because when they have overcome the same challenges as you have, or maybe they are going through them right now, or maybe they will just remember those tips and the next time they hit that challenge, they'll remember you, right? And they'll be so grateful. So I think the challenges and the wins bring people together, right? That is a common element that unfortunately life is life, change happens. Change is the only constant in life. So how do we navigate through life? And how do we, after we've equipped ourselves, after we've, experienced a certain thing ourselves, how do we turn that into an asset and to a piece of knowledge that we can pass on to our tribe? And how can we encourage them to do the same and strengthen one another like iron sharpens iron?
I
Right.
love
How can we do that? So communities, be the leader in your community and then find communities of leaders. Because as a leader, you run into the same thing as you said, being lonely on top. Find communities of leaders. And then keep going, because then you're gonna find communities of, executive leaders or whatever it is. But always find people who are a little bit ahead of you so that they can pick you up when you need help.
Yeah, the power of a positive community is priceless. Absolutely priceless. So you're going to want to make sure that you connect with Jules, myself, and any other conscious entrepreneurs out there that have created incredible safe communities for you. We have paid and free communities, and we are here to be in the energy of service. to help you step into your highest self and shine your light brightly and make that a safe space for others to do the same. So, thank you so much, Jules. Was there anything else you wanted to add about your tips there or add into the value?
No, I think we covered it. I think being authentic, first of all, figuring out taking time, we were just talking about that, taking time sometimes to away from everything and everyone and figuring out what really moves you forward, what really pulls you forward and upward, and then allowing that vision to kind of formulate the rest of your life. And Heather's great at helping you map that out. I use her tutorials all the time to do that. But I think taking the time, anytime you feel like you need to pivot, you need to shift, you need to reflect, schedule in that time out of your calendar, right? And doing that, and most importantly, step into the leader that you're meant to be. Even if you're a follower, I really like those soft leaders who don't come across, as you know, like you don't know they're a visionary necessarily, but they're a true servant leader, and they're just so helpful and so amazing, and they'll always connect you with someone, and they're always there helping you, like the nurse personality. I love belonging to those because I like to be around people who are different than me, to learn to be more well-rounded. So find the leadership style that you feel comfortable with and follow leaders who you're comfortable following. But step into your greatness because you have it in you.
Yeah, step into your greatness because you have it in you. And I just want to touch on that a lot about the pivoting. So I know every 2 to 3 years, we're really like reinvented ourselves. And then we have to make sure our business is in realignment with that. And I'm hearing it's a constant right now. And I just did this over the last year in our company and with myself. And in order to step into that new leadership, the first was my vision. It was getting in alignment and designing and getting connected to that vision of the next version of me, the next stage of my life, the next stage of my business. And I had to get connected with that first before I could just reverse engineer and see how everything else falls into place. So yes, I love that. First, get clear on what your vision is, make sure it's in alignment with you, and then build that contagious vision that will inspire a community to greatness, and step into your leadership because it is within you and you do have that greatness within you. And sometimes we just don't know what potential is latent in there until we get out there and do the do. So we believe in you guys. Now it's time for you to believe in you. And so, what's your free gift that you've got for everyone today? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So if you are wondering, okay, well, how do I start? Where do I start building this community? How do I get these people onto a common platform? So I made it super easy for you. A lot of you here use Facebook, and Facebook is free. And on Facebook groups are basically a tool that they've designed to host and grow and nurture a community. You literally can put courses on there. There's a guides section. I in this gift that I'm giving today, I teach you how to be a moderator of the group, how to grow the community, what questions to ask when people are joining, and how to benefit from bringing people together, maybe having events that bring them together. But it's a walkthrough style training. Okay. So you can literally pause, implement, start, create your own community, or even if you already have one, go through the training and tweak it so that it is conducive to adding resources, spotlighting members, and using that as a breeding ground for your community, and also growing leaders from within your community. I always like to have featured members, featured contributors, because there are always going to be some who want to rise to the top. So this training talks about that exact thing. And even though it's focused on Facebook, a lot of the setup and a lot of the features are applicable to other systems you might be using, other applications or community boards. One word of consideration, not necessarily caution, but consideration, and I keep hearing that, is people who start on one platform do not like to migrate into another platform. So if you do have a huge, or let's say if you're growing on Facebook, if you use Facebook a lot, stick to Facebook, right? moving people to another community platform sometimes is met with resistance. And because Facebook is free and it has all of these tools built into these community setups, it's just a matter of learning what they are, and they keep adding new and new ones. So even if you see the screen maybe a little bit different on your screen than it was on the training because it was recorded a couple months ago, but you'll see that it's the principles are timeless and you can utilize them anywhere else.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. What a great gift. And it's so important. Actually, one of our lessons inside the Own It Collective next week is sales and building your Facebook community. And so I absolutely love that. And I love the featured member and really allowing the leaders within the community to rise to the top. I absolutely love that. So you guys want to grab that gift. It's how to become a community management expert and tribe leader. And she gives you a step-by-step guide and training there. And that's a free gift from her. So it's a no-brainer. You want to grab that right now. The link is below. So go ahead and grab that. And then we always like to end the show now with your favorite book recommendation and why. And I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. So I thought about it quite a bit because I have a lot. I'm an Audible addict. But the one I keep turning to pretty much on an ongoing basis, it's called Law of Attraction, The Essential Collection by Esther and Abraham Hicks. And the reason why I turn to it all the time is because it covers all aspects of life and the foundations of law of attraction, law of vibration, law of deliberate creation. It has a lot of habits. It blows up a lot of myths. And it covers from money to relationships to health, literally 360 of life. So when I listen to it on repeat, and I think it's a collection of books and audios, when I listen to it on repeat, I seem to pick up a different thing every time, depending where I am in life. And sometimes I literally would just like randomly scroll and randomly pick a chapter, or on purpose, if I'm, looking for help with relationships, I'll listen to the relationship chapter. And it just gives me a different perspective. And every time it wakes me up from the victim mentality into the creator mentality. So that's why I need it as a reminder. That's literally my, cheerleader. Like, stop feeling as a victim. What do you want? And one tip, if I could just share from the book, I really like anything in life that goes wrong, anything in life that you don't like is given to you because life presents you with a contrast. So your job is to say, instead, I prefer, and then you create. Super simple. Instead of staying in the victim mode, why? And what? And like all this, drowning the spiral, right? That pulls me out of the spiral, and I basically slap myself on the face mentally all of the time when I'm into this complaining mode, and I'm like, no, what do I prefer instead? And you redesign, and you focus on that, and then you add other techniques like visualization, affirmations, meditation, all of that stuff can help you. But when you're in the moment and something doesn't go right, just remember, instead, I prefer. Super simple.
I love it. It's actually one of my favorite reframing tools. Thank you for the contrast. And here's what I prefer. And if there is anything you took away from this amazing podcast episode, that is gold. That can help you change your energy on the spot. Thank you for the contrast, because now I know what I prefer. And here's what I prefer. And leaning into that positive energy on our hero's journey instead of the victim story. So I love it. What a powerful, action-packed episode. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Julz. You're always amazing.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Heather. And I'd love to hear from you guys. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comments below the episode or wherever you've accessed it. And we want to know, what do you want to hear about more of, right? Because I know both Heather and I are podcasters and show hosts. We always want to know, how did you guys feel? Did you learn something? Was there a tool you picked up, or was there something you go, okay, I got to do this now, right? We want to see that. Let's create this engagement. Let's create this movement. Let's all commit to taking one actionable item from this episode and drop it in the comment or reply to an email where you've gotten it, or whichever way you've gotten this, drop it in there, because is going to solidify that momentum of you moving in a positive direction.
I love it. Let us know your biggest aha below and what actions you're taking that are going to help transform you and your leadership and community today. I love it, Julz. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And remember, everybody, stay happy, healthy, wealthy. Expect magic and miracles. And what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Own It Show today. Make sure to leave a review and subscribe. We want to thank you for your time and energy and extend the invite for you to join us in the Own It community on Facebook, an incubator for conscious entrepreneurs so that they can step into their greatness. We have tons of free trainings and resources for you, as well as a great opportunity to network with people leaving a positive impact on this world. Make sure to come back for next week's show. Have an incredible day. Remember, expect magic and miracles. Stay happy, healthy, and wealthy.